Hello, I'm Dylan.
And I'm Kiyan.
And this is Trust Your Doctor, that podcast with a self-destruct function. Because this week we watched Death to the Daleks.
Written by Terry Nation.
Which was directed by Michael Bryant.
And aired in February and March of 1974.
Yeah, almost at the end of Pertwee era. I mean, not yeah. I mean, yeah.
That
Whatever.
Freudian
Whatever. Not even gonna try to explain myself. You know what I mean.
Hey, I'm glad we're almost at the end of this era of Doctor Who.
It's not because I hate watching this era, it's because this era is just getting repetitive now. It's like with all eras of Doctor Who so far, they just get repetitive and then we're like, we need a change.
Yeah, but this has also gone on for 1.5 seasons longer so far, so there you go. Also, this is this season's Dalek serial.
Token Daleks.
Yeah, pretty much. So apparently they weren't even supposed to be in the first place.
Yeah, but then they were like, hey, can you put the Daleks in Terry Nation? He's like, fine, I'll put the Daleks in. Or something like that, apparently.
Well, this was kind of a lackluster serial in my opinion, so maybe the addition of the Daleks added to it. I don't really know, and I didn't really care for this serial.
I don't know. The Doctor Who reference guide makes an interesting point where it's like, unlike other serials which suffer from too little story, this serial suffers from having too much story.
I felt it was too much crammed into 3 and 4 and not enough in 1 and 2.
Pretty much. I don't know. It was... To be honest, it felt very grey, this serial. And that might be because the whole serial also looked grey.
Because once again, it was set in a rock quarry.
Definitely not helping the serial's cause.
The city was pretty interesting, though they only got there in the second half of the serial, which again is why 3 and 4 were more interesting in my opinion. And I guess we'll just bring it up now. The serial probably would have benefited from not being called Death to the Daleks, because one doesn't really like Day of the Daleks. It doesn't exactly have anything to do with the serial. It's just, I guess, an interesting title they decided to slap on. And 2, the Dalek showing up in episode 1 was the cliffhanger of episode 1. And I also wouldn't have seen it coming had the serial not had Daleks in the title.
Yeah, well, I guess they just go with the we're gonna put Dalek in the title of every Dalek serial ever thing.
Yeah, well, gotta bring up that viewership.
Well, I mean, that would be the main reason they'd put the Daleks in anyway. I mean, they're kind of tired out villains again.
Yeah, it's, I think it's called Team Rocket Syndrome.
What?
Yeah, something like that. Where the villain just keeps showing up again and again and again, and pretty soon they're not threatening anymore.
Until that awkward moment when
Pokemon
Team
show.
Rocket wins. Did Team Rocket ever win?
I don't know.
I mean, I didn't watch a lot of Pokemon when I was younger.
I did, and I don't think they ever won.
Wow. Poor Team Rocket.
Poor Daleks, because they come close, and you can argue that they win occasionally. But not here. Not here.
Is there a word for, like, that syndrome, but where they get so tired to the point where you're actually rooting for them to win? Does that exist?
That must be Master Syndrome. Except you want him to appear more, so he has more chances to win.
I don't think that's what it's called, but that's what we can call it, I guess. Although I think Dalek Syndrome is actually a better term for it.
Yeah, because that's what happens
Because that's
to
the
them.
point of why we brought this up. So anyway, we'll just jump into the description of the serial, like we usually do. The Doctor and Sarah Jane are going to Florana. I guess Sarah was like, okay, Doctor, we'll go to Florana. And she's wearing what I guess is the 70s equivalent of a bikini.
Yeah, maybe Florana will be the Metabulus 3 of this season.
I mean, with 2 serials to go.
Hey, you never know. Right, but they dematerialize, they head off to Florana, and obviously something goes wrong. Like, there's no way it wouldn't, so...
Right, and the Doctor... Well, the TARDIS kind of powers down, and the lights go off.
Reason.
And the Doctor's like, well, we have a torch, a flashlight if you're an American. And Sarah's like, okay, cool. And they try to use that, and that also gets powered down. So the Doc's like, well, we have this gas lamp.
Yeah, basically everything electronic or electric, I guess, doesn't work. I mean, there's a difference in real life, obviously, but here they just aren't discriminating either way, so everything's just powering down.
Yeah, so the Doctor and Sarah Jane are like, well, I guess we should investigate, and they hand crank the door open.
Yeah, apparently it's one of those insert metal manual crank where you have to crank it open type things, which we haven't seen until now, I think.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which is weird, because when you push the door open from the outside, it's not like you, like, activated a button or anything, but the Doctor mentions that the door has always been mechanized, powered. So I'm like, okay, sure, why not?
Yes, why not? And they step out and they're in a rock quarry. Surprise, surprise.
At night, though. At
Switching
night.
it up.
So, the Doctor and Sarah Jane are gonna go exploring, but Sarah Jane, in her 70s bikini, is like, it's kind of cold out here, Doctor. So he's like, well, I guess you better go put on some warmer clothes then. So
she's already the anti-Joe.
is she? I mean, she's like, hey, Doctor, like, don't go wandering off, and then he does.
Well, in terms of wearing reasonable outfits, yeah.
Well, yeah, okay, I guess. Fair point.
So yeah, she does that, and the Doctor goes off, slightly on his own.
Then gets knocked out by an Exelon.
Right, Exelons are the native inhabitants of this planet that they're on. They look kind of they're reminiscent of like the Sand People from Star Wars. Slightly.
Yeah. I was gonna say
at first.
Like Odo from Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Odo in his half changeling, half almost looks like a human form. Anybody who's seen Deep Space Nine knows what I'm talking about right now, I promise.
Well, I'll take your word for that. Anyway, yeah, they've got some weird robe-looking things, and
they blend in with the rock quarry.
Yeah, always good to blend into their natural surroundings.
It's kind of the whole plot device, actually, for the entire first episode, because Sarah Jane comes out and finds the oil lamp with blood on it. And she's like, okay, well, I guess I'll just go wander into the city over here. I bet the Doctor's in there. I mean, not before she beats an Exelon with the hand crank in the TARDIS.
Yeah, she, I guess, goes back to the TARDIS. This was just a really long, drawn-out scene of her sort of stumbling around everywhere. I didn't like it too much. There wasn't really any story to this at all. Didn't advance the plot. She heads back into the TARDIS, and some Exelons are inside, and she just beats them.
Well, there's just one, and she just beats it with the crank.
I think there were two. There was one inside and one like hanging
outside.
Around.
Yeah, he was outside. Yeah, she beats it with the hand crank. I'm just gonna keep bringing that up because it was like, whoa, Sarah Jane, whoa, calm down.
I think this is the point in the show where it's starting to get criticized for being overly violent, and we mentioned this a few weeks ago, I remember. And this series, well, before, I was kind of on the fence, like, yeah, maybe it's not really overly violent, but this, yeah, I can see why that criticism would have arisen. Especially based on other things that happen later on.
In this serial. But yeah, so Sarah Jane presumably knocks him out and doesn't kill him. We never actually find out if he's dead or not, because she escapes the TARDIS and finds the oil lamp, like we said. And then she wanders into the city and gets captured by the Exelons. Yeah,
there are scenes interspersed, I think, near the end of one and sort of, maybe in the first half of two, where she's about to be sacrificed. We find out the Exelons are going to sacrifice her and stuff.
Right.
Also, adding to why that criticism is, I guess, valid. But really, episode one was just drawn out too much, in my opinion. Not very much happened plot-wise, but the Doctor... God, what even happens? This is just a blur.
The Doctor stumbles upon the human group because...
Right. He's running away from the Exelons who are shooting him from the cliff tops, I guess.
I should as we skipped the very first scene. We started with the Doctor, but there was a scene right at the beginning where someone's kind of walking and he gets shot with an arrow.
Right.
Which we didn't mention, and I think that's supposed to be Commander Stewart, right?
Yeah, well, it would make sense.
Stewart, yeah.
Oh, then our death count is wrong.
Well, he doesn't die till later.
Yes.
Well, if it is Commander Stewart, then our death count is wrong. But was it? I don't know. No, it couldn't have been because that guy like falls in the lake after he gets shot.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. That lake in the rock quarry that is presumably the same one they used in Planet of the Daleks, now that I think about it. Remember when they shoved the Daleks into the lake?
Yeah. Yeah. Except this time it's water and not molten ice. But anyway, the Doctor comes across the humans. And the humans are from Earth, obviously. You know, they're not humanoids. They're actual humans from Earth. And they've come to Exelon, which is apparently the name of the planet as well, to look for Perminium, I believe it was called.
Perminium, yeah.
Which is needed to save Earth. To go into the details, but yeah, they basically need it to save Earth. There are a few characters introduced here. There's I don't exactly remember their names either.
Well, besides the guy who dies, Galloway and Railton. I think the girl's name was
Jill. I want to say something like that.
Yeah. Jill.
And there is Railton's the commander, right?
Railton's lieutenant.
Or the
both
acting
Galloway
commander.
and Railton is the captain, and then Galloway and the other guy were the lieutenants. And then Commander Stewart, who's currently dying in the mining tent, and then there's Jill, who's just a geologist.
Right, and Galloway, I think, is actually second in command here.
He takes over.
When
Railton
get into
dies.
That, but we'll get into that. So yeah, the Doctor meets these guys, and apparently they're dead set on doing anything possible, or not anything possible, anything they have to get the Perminium.
Galloway is super ends justify the means, and everyone else is like, maybe we should like take a step back, Galloway, and like consider our actions before we do anything. But they hear a spaceship coming into land, and they assume that it's the Earth like rescue ship that they had called for before their energy got drained. But because
their energy is also drained, like the TARDIS's, which is interesting.
So the ship lands, and it's revealed not to be the humans; it's actually the Daleks.
Yeah, revealed. That's why I was saying that this serial probably would have been better off with a different title. So this actually would have come across
something like
surprise.
Death to the Exelons.
Yeah.
Or just the Exelons, which was the working title of this serial.
Yeah, it might have been better. Right, and we've already basically said it, but so I guess it's okay to say this. But yeah, Galloway betrays them later on, and I totally called it right when he showed up. Like, no hindsight bias here. I legit paused it and wrote, Galloway is going to betray them, isn't he?
It's kind of blatantly obvious.
Yeah, but I still called it. That's a +1 for me. Hey, I'm proud of myself. Anyway, into episode 2. Well, episode 1 ends on the cliffhanger that the Daleks are shooting everything in sight. But in episode 2, it's revealed that their weapons have also powered down, so they're completely and utterly powerless.
Yeah, I think now's a good time to talk about this since I actually made a note about it. Like, the reveal is ruined only by the music. So this week we didn't actually have the weird electronic music that we've been having for like 3 years now. We actually got some music that wasn't electronic, and just gonna find it here somewhere. It was written by Carrie Blyton and was actually performed by the London Saxophone Quartet.
Yeah.
It was all sax music for the serial, which I actually enjoyed later in the serial. But in episode 1, it kind of ruined the Dalek reveal because it was kind of
really... It was smooth jazz. No,
because it was kind of just intrusive and really grating.
Well, I liked it a lot when later on, when you see the Dalek eye stalk coming around the corner, and then it's revealed that it's the Doctor. Yeah, I thought it worked well there.
It works a lot better later in the serial. It kind of ruins the reveal. Although, on the other hand, it was interesting that they had a recurring theme for the Daleks within this serial. Don't know if you noticed it, but they had a specific tune that always played when the Daleks showed up.
Yeah, and that's what they did later when you think it's going to be the Daleks, when it's the Doctor. They had that tune show up, and then it gets more lighthearted when the Doctor walks on screen, which we can note that when it actually happens. But right, the Daleks and the humans agree on some sort of truce, which you know the Daleks are going to break first chance they get. Because they need to discover what the heck is going on with their power.
Yeah, and it's revealed that the Daleks are also there for the perineum, because I guess the plague is also affecting them or something.
Did they ever explain why?
Well, see, that's the thing. The Daleks mention, like, the true cause for us being here for the perineum must never be revealed, and then it's never revealed anyway. As far as I can remember, at least.
Yeah, it must never be revealed, and it's not. So they followed through with it. Disappointingly, but hey, they followed through with it.
Unless it was mentioned somewhere in episode 2 and I just wasn't paying attention, because,
Well,
I watched 3 and 4 this morning.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if it actually was never revealed, because the Daleks were shoehorned in. So, you know.
Yeah. I assume it's because they also had the plague.
It doesn't really matter. They're the Daleks. They're evil. They're after the same thing the humans are after, so they clash. That's all that's really important here.
Team up.
And then clash.
Galloway doesn't believe the Doctor, and the Doctor's like, you gotta be careful. They're gonna betray you, Galloway. Like, you gotta be careful.
Galloway's like, nah.
Meanwhile, the Daleks, actually, are testing a replacement for the electric weapons. I guess they're regressing back through human history, because I think they end up with just regular old guns.
Something like that.
And they test it on a model of the TARDIS.
Yeah, which they have for some reason. Maybe similar to the Master, weird obsession with destroying the Doctor.
Well, I mean, he did kind of try to destroy the whole race back on Skaro.
Yeah, and pretty much succeeded like multiple times.
The first thing he did when he met them was destroy their race. And then he stopped their invasion of Earth. And then he stopped them. Well, then they chased him through time. And then he stopped them again when they tried to take over the entire galaxy.
Multiple times.
He stopped them when they tried to use the human element. Then he stopped them on that planet where he was the examiner, where they accidentally revived the Daleks. And then he stopped them again when they had taken over Earth. And then he stopped them again just last season when they were trying to take over the Earth again. You know.
They really don't learn, do they?
No. I'm just going to assume that this Dalek serial also takes place chronologically from Planet of the Daleks. There's nothing in the serial that indicates where in the Daleks' chronology it takes place.
Good enough for me.
And that's Dalek continuity talk. We'll just brush that aside, since it'll always end up being a long conversation if we let it. But anyway, the Doctor eventually goes with the humans and the Daleks into the city, because the Exelons kind of capture them, but not before killing Captain Railton and a couple Daleks in the process.
Right. I think this is the first instance, actually, because this happens again where a Dalek just bursts into flames, which was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Gruesome as that is, it was pretty funny. The Daleks, at this point, I think bring more comedy to the show than they bring a sense of terror.
I'm hoping they become more terrifying later.
I think it's already. I think that ship has already sailed. I don't think they're going to be as menacing as they
I'm not
once
going to
were.
spoil anything.
And that's for the best.
So anyway, the Daleks and the humans get captured. The Doctor sees Sarah Jane about to be sacrificed. He pulls out his Venusian Aikido again and knocks out some Exons before he gets knocked out himself. And they all get thrown in a prison cell together with Commander Stewart, who the Exelons have captured when the humans were currently gawking at the Daleks arriving on the planet.
Right, Stewart's about to die, and he calls Galloway over to him. This is why I thought Galloway was actually second in command, because what Stewart tells him, Stewart, right?
Yeah.
What Stewart tells him is, "Oh, you're not in command. When I die, it's inevitable. So and so is in command." Galloway's like, "What?"
Well,
Stewart,
Railton should have. Going by ranks, Railton was second in command, and then Railton died, and then, from what I can tell, him, Galloway, and the other guy, whatever his name was, were the same rank.
Yeah.
So either of them could have been in command.
Huh.
and Stuart wanted the other guy to be in command. I guess because he knew Galloway was going to go on a murderous rampage.
Yeah. Well, he does
Not
anyway.
that he does that.
Well, Galloway, he tells Galloway all this, and then Galloway says, "Sorry, Captain, couldn't quite hear what you said."
Right, because Stuart dies.
Yeah. So he goes back to everyone else, presumably, I guess, tells them that, "Oh yeah, Galloway put me in charge."
Stuart.
Yeah, Stuart. Yeah, he put himself in charge. Well, he kind of did. So I guess that's not too far off from the truth.
And it's at this point where the Daleks actually bust in with their new, not electronic guns.
They're super weapons, which are actually less technologically advanced, apparently.
Yeah.
Presumably. But
and
they
start
work.
Massacring the Exelons.
Yeah, I think we had a couple Exelons confirmed as on-screen deaths, and then just no.
The Doctor and Sarah Jane make their break. They escape down this tunnel, and then Sarah Jane has this realization, like, wait, weren't they going to sacrifice us down this tunnel, Doctor? And like, I was afraid you were going to recognize that. And then Galloway and the Daleks kind of team up, and they come up with this plan where they're going to have the Exelons mine Perineum for them. But part of the deal is the humans have to help the Daleks kill the rogue faction of Exelons that has only just been brought up now.
Yeah, there's a rogue faction. This is where it gets more interesting, actually. The rogue faction and the city and everything. And the Daleks also want the humans to help them kill the Doctor and Sarah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess not Sarah, because they don't really know.
Well, they want both of them dead or alive.
Yeah. Galloway agrees. Yeah, Galloway agrees, and all the other humans think he's crazy for doing so. But he says, what's one or two bodies in the on the path to human salvation?
Yeah, because he's like, we're going to save millions with this Perineum. Like, who are these people? We don't even care. They just arrived.
Yep. I'm not going to comment on whether he's right or wrong, because that's a moral dilemma. But
a moral dilemma that this serial tackles head on and then completely goes back on it. Like, really? We'll get to it in a second, and by a second I mean a while. So the Doctor and Sarah in the tunnel. The Doctor tells Sarah to wait while he goes down and investigates one of the tunnels. He tells Sarah that he wants someone to be back watching for the Daleks to come down the tunnel in case they decide to follow them.
Right.
While he scouts ahead, and he runs into this big eye stalk thing, and episode 2 ends.
Yes. Episode 3 starts, I guess, with the Doctor semi-fighting it off and then running away.
Yeah, and with Sarah encountering rogue Exelons.
Yeah. One of the rogue Exelons shows up. Design-wise, they looked a little different. I think maybe they just weren't wearing the robes that the surface Exelons did, which makes sense.
They didn't need to blend in.
Yeah. Well, they actually blended in more with the cave itself. So I guess there you go. But yeah, they looked they were humanoid, same with the other Exelons, and looked sort of fleshy, I guess, and just weird.
Yeah.
They're really not very interesting aliens, design-wise or character-wise.
They're the Exelons. That's all I have to say, actually.
All right. I guess that might become a thing for uninteresting aliens from now on. Yeah, well, they're the Exelons. No, anyway.
Yeah, the Spyridans, they're the Exelons. Does Terry Nation have a thing about ending his generic alien species with on? Spyridon, Exelon.
Well, it's a common sci-fi suffix.
Is it? Is it, though?
Common enough, I'd say.
Anyway.
Anyway.
There's also the Zygons who show up later.
There are probably more that I can't be bothered to think of right now. Right, the rogue Exelon is named Belal, whatever it is.
He should have been a companion now that I think about it. He
What?
could have been the first non-human companion. And he was, like, the only, like, interesting Exelon in the serial.
Yeah, he was the only Exelon with a personality. So I think you just think he was interesting because all the other ones were so uninteresting. He could have been an okay companion. He
could have had character development. He's kind of a blank slate. And those scenes with him and the Doctor in the city, you want to see more of that, admit it.
Sure, why not?
Him and then Sarah Jane being all snarky and like, what are you doing?
Hey, I'm in favor of a non-human companion for once. And I don't know if that happens I don't know when or if it happens.
K9.
Yeah, well, until we get to that. Anyway, Sarah freaks out upon encountering Bellal. I think they went back and forth again here on the pronunciation of this guy's name, so I'm just going to call him Bellal.
Bellal, okay.
It's kind of how it's spelled-ish.
Yeah.
She freaks out, but then he tries to calm her down. Tells her that the Exelons that they had encountered previously worship the city.
Yeah. It's revealed that the Exelon race had... I think they revealed this to the Doctor, too, when the Doctor shows up after the Eyestalk defeats a Dalek. And,
the Doctor watches the Eyestalk thing defeat a Dalek.
It provides color commentary. Like, yeah, good shot. A sporting blow. And, yeah, this is where the scene with the whole Eyestalk and the Dalek coming around the corner scene happens. But then, yeah, the Exelon talks to Sarah and the Doctor, and they mention how the Exelon race became so advanced that they mastered space travel, and they visited a lot of other races in their infancy.
Including, they visited Earth and the humans.
Right.
Which we don't find out till later, but they do, so...
Yeah, because the Doctor mentions the pyramid in Peru with the symbols, and he's like, well, I guess it was built by the Exelons. But they reveal that the Exelons brought about their own demise because they built a city that was so advanced that it could think for itself, and that was like the epitome of their creation, and then after that they kind of just declined as a race.
Right, and the city itself has a consciousness, so...
Or something like that.
So it kind of... not betrayed the Exelons, but it wasn't simply a tool.
Yeah, it created the electricity field that drains all the electricity because it needed to power the city, which is why the Exelons can't travel through space anymore because they don't have electricity. So they kind of shot themselves in the foot with that one.
Right, and this is where the serial became a lot more interesting for me. I wish they would have done more with this city and the backstory with the Exelons instead of maybe shoehorning the Daleks in. I don't know what they could have done in terms of that, with more of the city, but hey, I'm not the writer here.
No, Terry Nation is.
I think they could have done more with this plot point and more interesting things, but whatever. They don't, so no use crying over spilt milk. If I'm even using that phrase correctly.
I think so. I don't know. Well, anyway, the Doctor and Sarah are like, well, I guess we need to go to the city and turn off the electricity field, and then we can escape, and everyone can be happy, and we can also get away from those Daleks who are trying to kill us.
And those humans who are trying to kill us.
So, yeah, the Doctor and Sarah actually don't have much of a choice anyway.
Right. Meanwhile, back on the surface, the Exelons have been put to work. They're, I guess, trying to mine perineum out of the water hole thing.
Yeah.
Is this where another Dalek
catches fire?
Yes.
Yeah, he gets attacked by this Eyestalk thing, which shows up out of nowhere.
Right, we learn the Eyestalks. I don't know if we learn it now, but eventually we learn the Eyestalk things are actually the roots by which the Exelons planted the city. Because apparently the city is planted into the ground, which I also thought was interesting. It's always nice to see things you don't expect, like, on Earth, that doesn't happen. So, on this planet, it's something completely different.
Yeah.
And now for something complete... No. Anyway, the Doctor and Sarah and Bellal are heading off towards the city, but the Doctor tells Sarah she needs to stay behind for some reason. I don't exactly remember why he does.
He tells her to go back and tell Jill to be ready to leave on the spaceship as soon as the energy field comes up, because as soon as the energy field, goes down, because as soon as the energy field goes down, then the Daleks will have the power back and they're going to kill all the humans. So he wants Sarah Jane to tell them to be ready to leave as soon as the field goes down with the Perineum so they can get out before the Daleks decide to kill them all.
Yeah, that.
I mean, at first it sounds like he's going to be a jerk and be like, no, Sarah, you just shouldn't come because you're a weakling. But then he's like, he has a legitimate reason for it. So you're like, oh, okay. I see what you're doing, Doctor. You're actually planning ahead for once.
For once. Yeah, so he and Bellal continue on to the city. They make it there. And they actually, in episode 1, we neglected to mention that they actually come across the city walls.
Yeah, they kind of skirt the outsides of the city.
Right, and they touch the city walls, and they're activated by touch. You know, some sort of glowing screen appears when you touch the walls. Don't exactly know what that does, but they come across it again. The Doctor examines some ancient writing that was apparently also how he connected the Exelon race to Peru, so there you go. They enter the city. Meanwhile, some Daleks are tailing them, but the city is sort of... almost Celestial Toymaker-esque, where they have to...
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, actually.
They have to solve a bunch of puzzles to continue on, except they're way less in-depth.
And just way more kind of under-enthusiastically acted.
Yeah, way less over the top. Well, the Venusian hopscotch was pretty interesting, but anyway, the first puzzle... is this maze on the wall that you have to trace with your finger, and if you get it wrong, you die.
Well, the first puzzle was the opening the door to get in, which was finding the symbol that didn't match all the other ones. The second puzzle is the maze.
Yeah, okay.
And they're all touch activated, which was actually a point of contention for me, because I was like, wait, how did the Daleks activate them then? Because the Daleks don't have hands.
Well, they have that arm thing.
They have a plunger and a gun. And Bellal has the gun that the Doctor had earlier, which is the stock of the Dalek, which came around the corner. But yeah, how did the Daleks activate everything in that city?
I don't know, and I don't think it matters. They do explain how they get over the electrified floor, which was kind of dumb, but...
You mean just having one of them run over it and the other one just shoot it? Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah, and that throwaway line about how it only directly affects human flesh right away. So, anyway, the second actually puzzle is to trace the maze and get it right, or else you die. And along the way, the Doctor and Bellal encounter all these skeletons of people who failed the puzzles.
Don't know how you could fail a maze.
Yeah, you just go backwards. I'm just kidding.
Maybe it doesn't let you go backwards, but you don't have to put your finger down and immediately just start tracing it. You could take a step back and think about it.
Maybe maybe they started and it only gives you a certain amount of time, or you. This is pure conjecture here. This is never touched upon at all. Get it? Touched upon. Anyway, this is never touched upon at all. But perhaps maybe it's something like, okay, you have to move your finger every so often. You can't just stop. Maybe they didn't think it out. They didn't think ahead. Maybe they didn't know what it was, and they're just like, "What the heck is this?" Touch the wall and immediately die.
Some of those died in a position that wasn't even near the wall, though, which makes me think did they just not figure out what the wall was? What?
Maybe the first puzzle, instead of electrocuting you, and filters poison gas into the room. I don't know.
Or maybe they're just maybe they didn't have mazes on their planet, so they just got there and what is this? What are we doing?
Their ancestors created it, though. I guess they lost the technology, so...
Maybe what is happening? What do we do? And then they sat down and played solitaire or something.
Right, but the Doctor solves it unceremoniously, and they continue on. The next puzzle is what we mentioned before, the electrified floor. And, apparently it's Venusian hopscotch or something similar to it.
Something similar, I think, because the Doctor mentions, have you ever played Venusian hopscotch? But the other guy's like, what? No.
Well, the Doctor says, oh, no, of course you haven't.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
He's never been off-planet. But, right, it's basically almost a target-looking pattern on the floor. Like
Yeah.
target in terms of like a dartboard or something like that. It's red and white, and there's a sequence that's the correct sequence that you have to step on the thing to not die.
Yeah.
So the Doctor figures it out and never explains it, but he knows what it is. So he gets across, and he guides Bell across. And they, Bell doesn't...
Before we continue, we should talk about the sonic screwdriver Ex Machina again in the serial. How the sonic screwdriver, I guess, can detect which parts of the floor are going to trip the electricity or not. So we can add that to the running list of sonic screwdriver things that we're just apparently keeping now.
We should actually have a list of that on the website.
Yeah, that's a good plan. Well, what do we have so far? When it first appeared, it was actually used as a screwdriver back in the Second Doctor's era.
Yes.
So we had that. There was detonating mines in the Sea Devils.
It was used to, I think, cut a hole in a wall in War Games.
Right. It was also used to detonate gas in Carnival of Monsters. It played a high-pitched tone in the one serial, but I don't remember what it was now. It must have
been the Second Doctor's first serial. No, that was his recorder.
There was a recent one where it produced a high-pitched tone. That wasn't this week, because it does it again this week.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, actually.
Was it also Carnival of Monsters?
I was going to say, was it also the Sea Devils?
Oh, it might have been.
At the end, with the Master.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that.
Then in the suit was used to detect electrified plates and produce a high-pitched tone to distract Bellal so the Doctor could get the gun from him.
Right. There are probably more we're forgetting too, so we'll plan on having that up that we just decided now.
Yeah, more things for us to keep track of to keep us interested in the show, in addition to the death count.
Right, we also forgot to mention, this is very fitting because this was just dumb. The cliffhanger at the end of episode 3 is the Doctor unceremoniously saying, "Look out at the floor," with not much more enthusiasm than I just did.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about the enthusiasm thing in a bit, because I actually found out something about why it's starting to become unenthusiastically acted on Pertwee's part. I did some research into this serial before we recorded today, because I was bored and summer break, it's not much to do, so I should get a job. But anyway, the Doctor, they get over the hopscotch thing. The Daleks kind of just run over it and doesn't kill them, but they shoot the floor anyway, and then it repairs itself, and the Daleks do this throwaway line with "This indicates that the city is indestructible," which apparently it's not because of what happens in episode 4, but...
Hey, maybe it's just the Daleks jumping to conclusions again. They've done so in the past.
This is true.
Anyway, what, has the scene... did we already skip over the scene where the Dalek,
No, that comes up now.
Comes up now?
Because Sarah's talking with Jill, and this is when they come up with the plan to take the Perineum to the Earth spaceship. They're gonna run away from the Dalek, escape, and take the Perineum to the spaceship and replace it with Perineum bags filled with sand.
Sandbags filled with Perineum? No. I'll be honest. A lot of this serial was kind of a blur to me, and I don't even remember how the Dalek decides to do this.
Oh, okay. So what happens is he realizes in the morning when the sun comes up, because they tell everyone that work's going to start in the morning. So they all get up to start working, and Jill's not there, so the dog's like, "I have failed. I must self-destruct now. Self-destruct. Self-destruct." And then it just fizzles out and dies. See, this is where it should have caught fire.
I thought it kind of did a little bit, slightly.
Not really.
Not as much as the other ones, but... Well, the Doctor and Bellal get to the control room or wherever they were trying to go to, and there's like an apparition of an Exelon that just fades away.
I imagine it's like some sort of control avatar that the city has going on type thing.
Yeah, they never really actually explained it. They actually never brought it up in dialogue.
Well, I think the Doctor briefly says, oh, I guess us opening the door let the air in, which made it fade away, or something like that.
Well, the city also was able to create antibody Exelon-looking things.
Yeah.
which starts happening when they start messing with the control panel.
Unsurprisingly. Nothing in this serial was a surprise except maybe the reveal of the Daleks if the title hadn't been Death to the Daleks.
Well, I didn't exactly see Galloway's...
Betrayal coming even though you totally called it in episode 1.
No, I
or
didn't.
Or the reversal of his character in episode 4.
I didn't see the reversal of his betrayal coming. From too far away. Like, you see it coming when they bring up how... Yeah, well, you see it coming like 5 minutes... Not 5 minutes,
well,
like a minute before it happens.
While they're in... We should talk about that, because while the Doctor and Bellal are in the city, Galloway and the other guy, whatever his name is climbing the city with... They're climbing the city with bombs.
Because the Daleks have ordered them to.
Yeah, to blow up the electricity field generator thing at the top of the city.
It's some sort of... They call it the beacon.
Yeah.
Because it emits some sort of light.
Yeah. And they kind of get there, and the other guy plants the bomb. Hamilton, that was his name.
Okay.
He plants the bomb, and Galloway says, like, no, we only need one. Like, we can use the other one.
Yeah, so he's planning on double-crossing the Daleks as well.
Yeah.
Sly fox.
Well, I guess he kind of realized when they took Jill hostage that the Doctor was right and he shouldn't have trusted them.
Yeah. Yeah. Right, the antibodies start appearing. God, I don't even just...
Good thing I watched these today.
Yeah.
So the antibodies show up. Bellal was supposed to be watching for when they're done, but I guess he kind of had a momentary lapse in concentration because they attack the Doctor and Bellal, and then the Daleks conveniently show up to get them out of another situation. Let's be honest, the Doctor would be dead if it weren't for the Daleks in the serial.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, the Daleks busting in saves them from the prison earlier, and the Daleks busting in now saves them from the antibodies now.
I guess.
Dalek who?
Don't we already... I think we have an episode entitled The Doctor Dalek.
Dr. Dalek.
Yeah. Something like that. Anyway, they make it out of the city, and things go horribly right for the rest of this serial. They make it back to Sarah, Jill, and I guess that's it. I don't think there's anyone left behind except them.
Just Sarah and Jill and some Exelons. As the Daleks escape and take off with the quote-unquote perineum, but it's not actually the perineum, it's the sandbags.
Yes, and they start discussing what happened to Galloway, and he's nowhere to be seen, and they're like, what's going on? And it's obvious he's on the spaceship, and he's going to use the bomb to blow it up, and that's what happens.
Yeah, because Hamilton's like, we could have used the bomb against the Daleks, we could have crippled their spaceship, and the spaceship blows up. And then he's like, oh. Awk.
So Hamilton saves the day. No, Galloway saves the day.
Hamilton, the true hero of the story. I had almost a... I don't know if you've ever seen the TV show Leverage.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I haven't.
It's about these guys who, like, quote-unquote, provide leverage. Like, if someone gets ripped off by a corporation of people or something, they, like, come in and rip them off back type thing. It's kind of like a modern-day A-Team, kind of. But one of the key conceits of Leverage was that about halfway through the episode, they always put into motion this plan, and at the end, it kind of always looks like the bad guy's gonna win, but then some random thing that happened off-screen saves them, and then you see, like, you find out more information about the plan that you didn't know earlier.
So it's like almost like a detective story, like a mystery.
Yeah.
Like Sherlock Holmes.
And then, like, at the end, there's, like, the flashback to where they're, like, doing something behind the scenes that you didn't know. And I almost had a Leverage moment here because I didn't actually realize they had put sand in the perineum bag, so I thought the Daleks had actually made off with the real perineum, and then Sarah Jane was like, no, we put sand in the bags.
Well, apparently the Daleks making off with the perineum was the original ending of this serial, which, I mean, according to you told me that, so...
Yeah, the very first draft, apparently, the Daleks would make off with the perineum and the humans would have to work with the Exelons to get more perineum. This was also back when it was called the Elixir, which is also why the Exelons are called the Exelons, because Elixir, Exelons, you know... But then...
I mean, I thought they would have been called, the Elixons...
That would have been even more obvious.
Yeah, and also rolls off the tongue way less. So, there you go.
Whatchamacallit Holmes, future script editor Holmes, was like, yeah, how about no? Because for these stories, he's apparently shadowing Terrance Dicks in anticipation of becoming script editor, which will tie into something which I'm about to mention. But the serial ends on the Doctor kind of being like, oh, pity. Because the city's being destroyed and melting away because the energy field got blown up by the bomb.
Right, I guess they melt the styrofoam model of the city. It blatantly just looks like melting styrofoam in the scene.
And also the Doctor makes it have a nervous breakdown, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, and previously the Doctor had mentioned it was one of the 700 wonders of the universe or something like that, and he says, oh, pity, that now there are only 699 wonders in the serial ends.
Which you would think is a kind of lighthearted line, but the way the Doctor delivers it is really kind of morose and depressing.
It would have been even weirder if he said, like, guess there are only 699 wonders now.
Well, yeah, but no, I mean, if you just think about the line, like, oh, there's only 699, it sounds kind of like a silly line, like, when you think about it.
Well, put it into, like, Earth context, like, now there are only 6 wonders of the world.
It sounds kind of silly and not really serious.
I don't think so. I think it sounds really grim.
Maybe it just sounds silly because 699 is, like, a really big number.
Maybe. Right, yeah. It ends on that line. You don't see the entire resolution here. You don't really need to.
You just assume the humans make off with the Perineum and save millions of people, and the Doctor saves the day again, hops in the TARDIS, and hopefully makes it to Florana next week.
And according to our theory a few weeks back, infects everyone on the planet. I'm just kidding.
Now that I think about it, I don't think he makes it to Florana next week.
Yeah, well...
Given the name of next week's serial.
Yeah, watch it just be set on Florana anyway somehow.
So, as I was saying earlier, Pertwee is becoming kind of less enthusiastic about the role of the Doctor, and that's just kind of he was getting tired of playing the role of the Doctor at this point.
Yeah, well, he'd always played it kind of tiredly, so...
Well, now he's just super unenthusiastic. Well, not super unenthusiastic, but noticeably unenthusiastic about it. And it was this story... or the production of this story that kind of led Pertwee into saying, okay, at the end of the season, I'm not going to be the Doctor anymore, because it was during this story that Barry Letts revealed he doesn't want to be producer after the season anymore. And at this point, Terrance Dicks has already revealed he doesn't want to be script editor after the season. So we got Terrance Dicks is going out, we got Barry Letts is going out, so and Katie Manning having just left, and then also Roger Delgado kind of plummeting off a cliff. Pertwee kind of has a moment of, I guess maybe my time on the show is coming to an end.
You think? No, I'm just...
Hey, don't hate on him that much.
Hey, I'm going to miss this era of the show when it's over. Not going to lie.
We'll miss every era. It's going to be like that for every era. I mean, we said that when the first Doctor was going out, and we said it again when the second Doctor was going out.
Yeah, I mean, whether we liked the era or not.
It grows on you.
Yeah, I'll like the show, I guess. I mean,
and,
but after like 300 something episodes, it's kind of hard not to be at least a little invested here.
So thus begun for the first time in 5 years, they began a search for a new Doctor Who. So, and like I mentioned, Robert Holmes is currently shadowing Terrance Dicks as script editor in anticipation of becoming script editor, and obviously he does because we're recording this way beyond when the show was aired, so we know what happens. But who is the new producer? I don't know. We'll find out when the fourth Doctor's era hits, I guess.
Do you actually not know? I don't know either.
Don't know.
Yeah, same.
So, I mean, this is the beginning of the end, so to speak. A kind of a mediocre serial to begin the end with. I wouldn't say it's bad, but I wouldn't say it's, like, fantastic either.
I think it just should have been paced a little better. Episodes 1 and 2 felt very padded out with just scenes of just traveling scenes.
Yeah, I agree.
And then they sort of, I think, tried to cram a lot into 3 and 4, and it might have been better if they'd done it more gradually.
The serial was filmed differently from all the other ones because Barry Letts, when they kind of switched to a different recording style, they used to record an episode a week, but at some point during the third Doctor's run, they switched to 2 episodes every fortnight. And
fortnight, haven't heard that in a long while.
Well, you have now, but they would record 2 episodes every fortnight because they could save the sets and just immediately use them the next day, right? So, but then for this serial, Barry Letts was like, all right, we're going to do only camera tests on the one day, and the second day we'll record both episodes. So they recorded episodes 1 and 2, and then 2 weeks later recorded 3 and 4. So they were recorded in different...
Huh.
Yeah. Probably doesn't explain the pacing issue, but it might contribute to why the pacing is terrible.
It might contribute to... I don't think it would contribute to why the pacing is terrible. That more has to do with the writing. It might have influenced the actors a little bit.
Yeah. Might also explain why Pertwee just seems like he's totally over it at the end of the serial.
He pretty much is at this point. And he's only got...
12 episodes, 2 serials,
Yep.
or 6.
There you have it. It's almost...
Death to the Daleks. That's kind of all we have to say about it. Like, with every mediocre serial, there's not really much to comment on. At least with the bad serial, we can rat on how bad it was. And at least with a good one, we can tout how good it is.
And go on and on about both of those things.
Exactly. With the mediocre serial, it's... Meh. So, if you have any thoughts on Death to the Daleks, or Barry Letts leaving the show, I guess, I don't know. Email us at thedoctor@decorativevegetable.com. Also, questions, comments, concerns, angry rants, love letters, anything about the show. Do you really badly want to know our recording setup? Email us, I guess. We'll, send you a picture or something, or you can just watch the video episodes. Don't forget to check us out on iTunes at Trust Your Doctor and leave a rating if you liked the show, leave a rating if you hated the show, and also check us out on YouTube. And that's kind of that. Be sure to watch the website. We have a new show coming.
Right, a new podcast.
A new podcast, not going to be weekly.
Yeah, definitely not.
It'll be bi-monthly, but I think...
Roughly.
If it becomes successful enough, maybe we'll move to monthly. But that would require it actually being more successful than this show. Like, a lot more successful than this show.
So yeah, that's keep an eye on that. That'll obviously be linked to on all of our various outlets. But check us out on Facebook. Like us on Facebook. Check us out on Twitter. Like us on Twitter. Or follow us on Twitter, rather. And next week we have Monster of Peladon. Not Curse of Peladon.
Sequel, I guess.
But until then, the end.